Yes, we have returned. We are back from Puerto Rico. Dylan, Ashlyn, and I went out last week and shot the Grandmaster sequence in beautiful Castillo de San Felipe. And if you're looking over my shoulder, are you jealous? Because that's Bagwell. That's Bagwell drawn by Margaret, and Baggy loved it. So it's staying up there now. I had to replace the poster, so Baggy's gonna be always over my shoulder, kind of giving everybody good vibes. So, all right, thank you, Margaret. Having shot back everything from the Grandmaster Castle, and it was gorgeous. We had a great time as well. Traveling with me isn't very easy, nor is working with me very easy while traveling. So just when it was time to work, man, it was just awesome. Everything came together. So my style, traveling and working together. So there's really no breaks, no eating. It's just ahead and moving, but everyone did an awesome job, and we had a really good time. We got everything done early. It didn't feel like it was working. I mean, we were just so into the atmosphere, into the vibe. They got to see the castle, and the plan goes, Dylan is deal, gets his Grandmaster sequence too. We go back. Time will tell, but you know, either way, we had a great time, and we're delighted to see it. Thank you to everyone that came out to the rough cut screening on Saturday. Yes, and even my parents came out. So parents, step parents, and the old saying is, you turn out to be your parents. Well, I could only be so lucky. So thank you guys for everything. So everyone got to see all 2.5 hours between preludes and the ending, the full ending. And today I had the privilege of speaking with James on the phone for 45 minutes, driving into hockey tonight. We had a great talk, and it was everything that I was expecting. And to pop that balloon, the sequence at the end, everyone is thinking, Jeff, what are you doing? It was like nails on a chalkboard for 30 minutes. I totally understand. It was uneasy for me to get through it, but I had to show you exactly what was going on. So that sequence put together, that final 30 minutes was done in about a day and a half. Not making excuses, but there's so much in there that's going to fit to speed that up. And not only that, is that, remember, that part is essentially getting eliminated for the theatrical release. The general release of In Unison, that back part where it kind of hits the brakes is virtually gone. So what I'm alluding to, without giving any spoilers, so the theatrical run is going to take basically that cool little story that led up to all that, and then condense that last 30-35 minutes into about 3-minute nugget of this wistfully blinking you miss it, and it's all going to be narrated by another character too, to put everyone at ease. If your confidence was shaking in In Unison after seeing the rough cut, don't worry about it. It's still moving forward with a lot of elements in there that we're going to shoot all in November and pick it up from there. So you saw something that was basically things taken off of our phone and thrown at the screen. That's what the rough cut was. There was no music added to it, no fixing of dialogue, no color. But what we saw was a couple red flags on where it could be a problem. And so that's a conversation I've had with James today. It was super helpful. It was everything I was expecting. The same feedback from March, I sent it out to an anonymous screenplay reader, and they said the same thing. Man, it was cooking, and then it just hit this roadblock right at the end. That screenplay reader did not know I was also the director in the middle of shooting it or about to shoot it. So the plan around it is pretty significant, but I needed to hear that feedback because I still had never seen a movie scene. It's just there to me, and I don't know what it looks like to other people. So I got a lot of good things. We talked for almost an hour, and it was super helpful. So thank you, James, for that. I mean, I'm taking everything completely to heart. We didn't agree on everything, and that's fine. But he gave me enough to say that, like, look, and remember, this is the perfect example of why I called Saturday a sonogram. You know. It's like you should be celebrating that this thing has been created. It's got a small heartbeat. It looks like a mess, but it's got 6 months to cook, you know. And you have to trust me in that, and to say that, like, what you saw was basically from phone to a transfer and then onto the screen. There was hardly nothing else really added to that. Dylan did an amazing job putting all that together in such a short amount of time. If you've never edited a feature before, I can assure you that was a miracle. And then those who were in attendance, feedback, if you start from there, just realize James talked to me already. If you're concerned about that back 30 minutes, trust me, it's getting addressed. And in the final product of the film, it would hardly even be in there. But that's about a month's extra work of making sure that element stays. Because I would like to have that in my back pocket for people that maybe want to hear something like that, but for the general audience and something that would really make the movie go, that part where it's just stagnant or feels stagnant at the end, it's gone. It's gone for the general release, and then it has more of that crazy vibe of people that want to stick around and hear stuff like that without any spoilers. Plenty of work ahead. And as we get into the next step, so what is the next step? Where do we go from here? November is going to be really about getting all those extra shots that I need. I know we have an extra, that character, there's going to be a central character that kind of tells the story, his little journal, and we follow him along and how he explains things. So we've got that coming. We're going to have to shoot Chet and his Lieutenant Leonard character, some pickup scenes. And then Dylan has got to get a ton of his flashback and his separate scenes as well too. So a lot to pick up from a general story production piece. That doesn't count anything that's extra with the lunar sequence at the end. A lot of that is going to be stock. A lot of it's going to be stuff I want to shoot on my own. But where I would need the help is all those people that are going to be message receivers, and also people that are having conversations. And we'll get into that when we. But the biggest help I can have from everybody out there watching this is that if you know anyone that wants to be in a movie, if you know anyone that wants screen time, like up close, now that you saw it, you can see what the questions are going to look like. Anyone that's interested in that, even message receivers that don't want speaking roles, folks using their ID or wearing head sashes or doing body language for the opening narration, all that would be beneficial. And then the cool thing is, it's just on my phone. Just tell me where they're at, and I'll come drive to them and pick them up. So that leads into the timetable of really what's next. So November, December, shooting all the extra stuff. I really want to get into the Weaver prelude too, to make sure that's shot by December. We got some really cool scenes in mind for snow for Weaver. So fingers crossed. But we're going to have a chilly prelude for Weaver. November, December, shooting the rest of everything while we're editing as well too. So the interview sequences, a lot of that footage for the final sequence, just everything that's just kind of extra. November, December is going to be lumped into that. We get through producing the second rough cut in roughly February. Everyone that's willing to return, and then anticipating doubling that audience. So you'll see where it came on October, and then by February, we'll see that second rough cut that's going to be introduced to even more strangers to the movie to see how they viewed it versus the people that saw it from the start and how it matured. And then from there, we go into producing our first picture lock by March to really streamline it and then have this thing sent out to either myself to figure out a color sequence or send it out, which I prefer, to a professional colorist and a professional sound designer as well too. So what I would like to have is the final version complete by the time we go to Stillwater, which is I'll talk about. So Teasing Elitism, I found out today, was selected for the Red Dirt Film Festival in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That's going to be in April. So huge shout out to Winnie and Ashlyn, really carried that movie. It was a lot of close-ups, so a lot of that was acting dependent on that, and also a huge shout to Yvetto for that music, just really nailing it. So I have a feeling Yvetto is going to be a festival darling after it starts to pick up a little bit of noise as we put more and more stuff out there. Yvetto is going to get all that exposure too, and how beautiful their music is. So we're heading there in Stillwater in April, and that's what I would like to kind of have the full kind of really push for the feature among the festival circuit, because I'm not really pushing for this huge wide release. It's going to play on smaller venues across the country just to have a more of an intimate feel to it. So these kind of festivals to go to on the smaller festival circuit is just a way to get our name out there and kind of test the water a little bit to see if something they'd be interested in. But it's so cool that we're continuing the festival run for the shorts up until we do it. So the feature is looking to be ready by the time we go to Stillwater in mid-April, and then push it there, and knowing that we'd have a confident, good movie in our back pocket in Oklahoma would be so cool to screen even more and have some more press around it, similar to the vibe in Texas. And then really by early May, the plan is to screen it for some critics and get some buzz out there, and then we really have that really awesome time on May 24th when we go to Checker Spot. And I was there with Susan Shannon. We saw Laughs and Drafts, that they rescheduled the comedy show. It was really good, and the space is incredible. So I could finally put an image of how the seating would be, where the screen would be, where the stage would be, and all of that, and it was mind-blowing because it exceeded everything that I thought it was going to be. So you should see it in person. I can't wait to have just a full-blown celebration there. So I talked to Dennis, and we're still going. So it's by the time February next time hits, I'm going to really dig in with their social media partner and really pump up this movie. And I know Amy's going to get excited. She's going to really press the screening of it next June when it's screened at Maryland Art Place. So to have two pivotal venues in a corner already that's already attracting a general audience in Checker Spot, and then and a full artist crowd with Maryland Art Place. So two different kind of venues in 2 different weeks with 2 different crowds is going to really be an indication of what kind of thing we're looking at. But no matter what, like In Unison turns out to be something crazy or something that's just I don't think it's going to be a dud, but even if In Unison isn't this big thing, it's going to open so many doors for everyone associated with it. So James did say that above all else, that what stuck out the most in his mind, it wasn't all bad, it was the performances. So he gave praise to all the performances and said that for a feature film at this level, it really impressive was the word. So it was usually you see things like low budget films, that's usually what drags it down. The story could be amazing, but the way it was acted, but James had nothing but great things to say about everyone's performances. So that's a great echo on the sentiments that I feel as well too, of just how everyone was so in it and so into the story that you could feel it out of their performances. I'm so glad he said that. He said that was a #1 win out of everything. So guys, once again, thank you to everybody for coming out on Saturday. Thank you for everybody for the feedback. Stay tuned. We're looking to your inbox. You may have an invite to screen it. In Unison does exist right now, unlisted on YouTube. All 2.5 hours of it. Thank you everybody that came out. Thank you, Margaret, for the picture, and I will see everybody soon. I'll see Margaret on November 4th as she's directing her first play in the Amazing Theater in Olney, so we'll check her out there. And then we've got I've got 2 acting jobs coming up. One, I'll see Christina. She won a part across from me, and in this untitled short from Terrence Smalls of 89 Crown. So excited to see Christina again this week, and I will catch everybody later.